some new music that's inspiring to kick off this summer with, well, I got news for you. You are in the right place because tonight we're going to check out some new tracks from a band from Minnesota called Boiling Point. So go ahead and grab an iced tea or an iced cup of coffee like I have and throw on the headphones because you're going to need a cool beverage tonight because it's going to get hot in here with Boiling Point. Well, the Raven has left the birdcage, I guess, and we are back. And tonight I have with me the lead singer from Boiling Point, Eric Bjorklund. And I apologize. We were supposed to do this last night, but I think some computer demons got a hold of my computer and totally messed it up. I had to reboot everything. And I'd like to welcome all of our viewers that we have. And I want to remind you that this is a community and we're going to be checking out some new tracks. So please feel free to comment on the tracks tonight, as well as send Eric your questions and comments, and he'll be able to respond to them right here live. And hey, I want to give a shout out to all of our new international listeners on Apple iTunes who listen to the replay of this. But Eric, welcome to Raven's Heart. I'm glad we finally got you on tonight.
Yeah, man, it's good to be with you. So honored to be here. And, watching your intro, I got hot. So I'm even in the band Boiling Point. So I think it seems like the right place to be for the evening anyway.
It is. And we've got Jermaine Nixon. He is from the band Tricord. And he's like,
nice.
Music. Yes.
Hey, I've heard of those guys.
They rock. They are awesome. So yeah, Jermaine, we got some new music tonight. Hey, we got a comment here from Ian Moss, looking fresh. Eric, is that because you got a haircut?
Yeah, my stylist actually convinced me to leave the hair long. So now I have kind of the undercut thing. So we're going to give it a shot. And, if my wife doesn't approve in 2 weeks, we'll cut the rest off.
It's all about what the wife says.
That's right.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here's some value added to all of our viewers and listeners. It's about what the wife says. And I know my wife is listening to me in the other room across from the studio. So I think I'll have some things to do after tonight's live stream. So I've been able to listen to some of your music, and there is depth to it. But not only is there depth to your music, but there's depth to the name Boiling Point. Can you tell us what the name Boiling Point means?
Yeah, well, Boiling Point's really basically a very helpful metaphor for what it looks like, I feel, to come into relationship with Christ. So water at its boiling point becomes a vapor. It's still, the same stuff, but it's radically changed into something else that has different properties. And in the same way, when we come into relationship with Christ, we are radically changed. Our lives are changed. The reasons we do things are significantly changed, and that's reflected in who we are and who we become as followers of Christ. And the metaphor is helped further by the fact that water becomes a gas, and in the same way, we are called to go out and disperse, much like gas disperses, and called to go out into the world and be Christ's hands and feet for a world that needs hope and healing.
I like that a lot because, when you're talking about boiling water, you're talking about a chemical change. And when somebody is born again, there's a lot of confusion about this today. It's like, well, it's not about choosing to follow different rules or trying to follow a philosophy. It's about a change in you that starts on the inside. It's a spiritual mystery. It's a supernatural, I'm going to use that word, supernatural phenomenon that happens. And Ian wanted to comment on your supernatural phenomenon that happened in the transformation with your haircut. It says, looking professional, Eric, there's a first for everything. So
yeah, I mean, for the last year, I've just looked a little bit homeless. So I'm trying to I'm trying to like pull myself back together to be like out in public again. Doing my best to clean it up, Ian. But to your point, Glenn, yeah, I mean, coming into relationship with Christ is just a catalyst moment, right? Just changes everything, changes what you're about and who you live for. And, it's absolutely been a wild ride, since my decision to really be very focused on following Christ and doing that to the best of my ability.
It's amazing how, as you follow him, the relationship can just get deeper and deeper and deeper. There is really no measurement of the depth of that relationship because he is just so other. People
Yeah.
don't realize that. You can never master theology. You can never master scripture, and you can never master your relationship with Christ
Yeah.
because he is the master. And speaking of that relationship, boiling point is something that came out of your relationship with Jesus. How did God bring you guys together, and what was it that you were like, okay, God, I understand it. You want us to do this. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, like a lot of bands that start out, we were all part of kind of a worship team. And, I had written some songs that were like, not terrible. And so it's kind of like, should we try to do something else with these songs that I wrote? And, in the Twin Cities for a long time, there was a band competition put on by Club 3 Degrees. And it was a pretty famous battle of the bands while it was running. Some pretty big Christian bands came out of that competition, and a lot were signed by like Tooth and Nail and BEC and some of these that label out there in Washington. But so really, it started as a worship team, and then became a band. And I really feel like the fact that we started as a worship team has really been helpful for our posturing towards being a rock band, because really, worship is all about the heart and humility, and having enough humility, I think, to dare to stand in front of people and think that you can to lead them in worship. And I think we have a similar posture as a band. Whenever people see Boiling Point, or whenever I write Boiling Point, I always write it in lowercase, because it's really a reflection of like the fact that we don't exist for ourselves. We exist as a vessel of hope and hopefully change in the lives of other people.
Yeah, that's one of those things we were talking about before we got started tonight, how both what you do and what I'm doing over here really has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It's not like it's the Boiling Point show when you go do something, and it's not like, hey, this is the Glenn Lithoscry, Raven's Heart, intense fire, ravens, and all sorts of stuff like that. What it is that this is a platform for Jesus and where he's glorified. And that's what we're doing. And it's about him. And every time I go into one of these, editions, it's like, okay, Lord, what do you want to do? How do you want me to glorify you by, uplifting the artists that we get to speak to and talk to? And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about what you guys are doing, because you're more than just about the music. You're actually out there getting your hands dirty, doing a work of ministry that a lot of people are actually afraid of. You're a missionary, and you've been to Sierra Leone in Africa and done missionary work there. Can you tell us a little bit about the missionary work you've done in Sierra Leone?
Yeah, so we have the opportunity to work with a group called Africa Uplifted, and I got connected with them about 10 years ago, and so I think I've been to Sierra Leone 7 or 8 out of the last 10 years. And really the work that we've been doing over there is, giving people greater access to healthcare, because there wasn't any functioning healthcare. And so people were getting sick and dying for reasons that they didn't need to die or get sick of. We have been rehabbing wells. We've been building wells. We've been putting expansions on schools so that trying to create more functional space for education, because education for the future of countries that have, for instance, like Sierra Leone, come out of a 10-year civil war is so important to sort of aid the future and give that country more leaders and opportunity for growth. We also, of course, focus on spiritual growth and then also economic development. So it's just really a cornucopia, all encompassing kind of mission that we are involved in. And some really cool stuff has happened just because of our involvement. One story that I love to tell coming out of Sierra Leone is there was a grandfather. He had grandkids, and we had put in a well, or rehabbed a well, and he came up to the group and said, I don't know who this Jesus is you can come in the name of, but I know that since you arrived and fixed the well to give our grandkids a clean source of water, my kids and grandkids no longer cry out in the night because of their stomach pains. And so just really being the hands and feet of Christ in a very tangible way has really produced fruit for the kingdom.
That is so powerful. And as you were saying that, how they were able to see the reality of Jesus through you and what you were doing, and how Jesus was able to provide for them through you. I've never heard any stories of that through Buddha or any of the other false gods that are out there. They're not out there building wells for children. And that's just so powerful that you do that. And the other thing too is, by you doing that, I'm sure that when you go out and you put your hands to something that is really hardy labor and difficult and not comfortable in the least bit, have you found that that has released you more on the creative side when you've done that?
Well, it certainly released me on the I'm feeling very, very hot phase of life. But no, it's a good question. More than anything, Sierra Leone has given me enough of a pause in life to really reflect on kind of the things that I value and find important. Sure, there's definitely some value in working hard and in doing labor, but some of the beautiful songwriting, I hope people think it's beautiful, that came out of and now is on this Hope Lives Here record, was really an opportunity to just be quiet and listen. And I feel like over the last 5 years, I've tried to do more listening than ever, and just try to hear what God is telling us or asking us to do. And that's really, I think, the reason that Hope Lives Here is really gaining a lot of traction and seeing a lot of success, because if it were completely up to me, I don't think the project would have ever happened. But I'd open myself up to really listening and trying to hear what God had for us. And there was one day I was sitting in a burrito place with our electric guitar player, because he was actually working at the burrito place, and I'm sitting there eating a burrito so I can talk to him, because he didn't have much time at that point in his life. And I just hear God whisper, you need to go to Sierra Leone and make a movie, and you need to take John with you, burrito man. And so next thing I'm like hearing out of my mouth is, hey John, you want to go to Africa? You want to go to Africa with me and make a movie? In my mind, I'm like, I have no idea how we're gonna pay for this, but I feel like if God is asking it of us, then there will be a way provided, and that certainly was the case. And the crazy thing about this whole thing is that John had, and I didn't know this until we got to the airport, John had never been on a commercial airplane.
Oh my.
And so this guy from Iowa, first commercial flight ever was, across to I think the UK or Amsterdam, and then a second, 7 or 8 hour flight to Sierra Leone. So like he visited most of the continents in his first flying experience.
Wow. Scary things happen. And I shouldn't say scary, but wild things happen when you start listening to God. A lot of times people, when they go into prayer, they're like, okay, I've got to keep talking and I got to keep babbling at the mouth. And really, God kind of showed me, probably about a year ago, that, okay, you prayed. Can you just please stop for a minute so I can say something and listen to what I have to say? And his voice, he speaks every day if you listen. It's a matter of being tuned into that. I want to go back to some of the listener comments because we got some powerful comments on the things that you've been saying.
Okay.
And I want to go through this for our listeners on Apple iTunes. They're going to be listening to the replay. Jermaine says, so powerful, man. The postures of worship, repentance, praise, and thanksgiving. Wow, man, I am so excited to hear about your heart. Absolutely. Ian is Boiling Point by name and nature, especially in Sierra Leone. That is a hot place. And then Jermaine says, that is so amazing. Wow, man, acts of love and kindness draw people to the truth. I think that is something really that a lot of the church needs to return back to today, is going back to the acts of love and kindness, of just being kind and showing love. And it's so simple. And when you look at the ministry of Jesus and what he did, that was the basis of the Beatitudes, basically, is, it was the basis of love. Love God and love your neighbor. Those are the two of the greatest commandments right there. So, I mean, for those that don't know, Sierra Leone, if I'm correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is predominantly a Muslim nation. Is that right? And
it's a predominantly a Muslim nation, and it's extremely poor. I mean, the average income of someone in Sierra Leone is about $300 a year.
Wow, that is crazy. What are some of the challenges that have faced in ministering in a predominantly Muslim country?
Yeah. Gosh, it's been a really an interesting experience, because people, have been really open to us and the work that we've done. So I wouldn't, I think there's certainly some skepticism and doubt about why we're there. But as soon as we kind of start working and doing what we're there to do, I think that some of that cynicism and skepticism goes away. And to kind of piggyback on what you were talking about, just kind of the nature of the world these days is, I think we live in just such a cynical world these days, and I really feel, and I felt for a long time, that the only way to break through that is by demonstrating the love of Christ in our hearts, by being active and being, having a posture of servanthood. If you hang around Boiling Point long enough, we kind of have this phrase that we really live by, and it's also kind of the discipleship path that we hope people kind of choose if they make that decision for Christ. But it's find love, know love, be love. And so, of course, the first step is to find love, find Jesus, come into relationship, have that catalyst moment where he changes your life. Find love, know love. So then you kind of enter into this next phase where you start to develop that relationship, read the Bible, be in community with other believers, pray, do spiritual acts to further and depthen your spiritual life. But really, I think, and this is why I think Boiling Point exists, it's because of the be love part. Like I am absolutely I absolutely believe that if you get stuck on the no love part, that you kind of need to reevaluate your walk, because I think that your Christian walk should motivate you to be Christ's hands and feet in some tangible way in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to Africa, but there are things that God is calling you to do, and we all just kind of need to accept that we might need to listen better, or just pause for a second so we can hear what God is calling us to do, to offer hope and freedom that comes only through Christ.
I want to go back to what you just said and reiterate that and underscore that, because Jermaine just did. Find love, know love, and be love. And that's a process. That's not something that happens right at that catalyst moment. And I want to go back to that catalyst moment because I want to help some people. I want to help some of our viewers understand something. Is that when you come into relationship with Jesus, it's not something that you just kind of roll into. It's not like, oh, well, I guess because now I think this way and I believe this, now I'm in relationship with Jesus. There is that catalyst moment, just like when water hits that boiling point. There is that temperature where it has to hit. There is that one specific spark moment in time where it happens. And I remember that day. I remember the place. I remember everything that happened. when Jesus saved me, I remember what it felt like when I asked him to save me. It was like the weight of the world had been taken off of my shoulders, and I felt like a completely different
Mm.
person. But I want to go back to this again. I'm going to put what Jermaine said because I can read it. I had to find love first, and then it's taken me about 20 to 25 years to know love, and I think I'm finally getting to the point of understanding of being love, and that takes time to do. Let's start talking about the music. In January you released your first single.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. It's been, and you and I were talking just briefly before this all kind of went on air on Facebook, or sorry, YouTube, I guess. But it's been such a wild ride, Glenn. In January, I was having significant doubts about what the future of the band was, and if there was anything else God had for us. Because we had been running for 15 years, I think, at that point, and we've never been a band that's been about the record label or those kind of things that people think of when they think of a successful rock band. Very early in our ministry, we decided to focus on the people and not miss kind of the process and the journey that we were on. And just whatever, if that other stuff happened, it happened. But there was definitely a time in January where it was like, because we had been in like a 5 or 6 year plan with the movie and the EP that was released prior to the movie called Take Courage. And so like we're coming to the end of this thing, and I'm like, God, if I don't know if there's anything else for us, but I'm just going to give this all to you, just 100%. I don't know what else there is, but if you want us to kind of shut things down and just be done, I will be forever thankful for the people in the ministry that we've been able to do. But if you want there to be a next chapter in Boiling Point, then could you please just kind of help let us see that and just kind of kick down the doors, so it just becomes really really clear, because sometimes it wasn't, and it certainly wasn't in January. But Hope Lives Here releases, I think, January 19th, and as of last night it was still on the rock charts. So it's been on the rock charts for 6 months, 24 weeks. The song
That's
has been
awesome.
running on the charts. And then we started releasing the mini series, which had been a movie, but then the pandemic happened and we didn't know what the movie, how to do that anymore, because of kind of uncertainty. So then we decided to kind of break it up into 8 sections. And so then we started showing the movie with the very intentional purpose that episode 8 would air the night before Easter,
Okay.
so that Easter would come the following day and our living hope in a resurrected Christ would show up. It was kind of this really beautiful sequence. And so with the success of the miniseries and the single, the record was actually supposed to come out probably in April. But then we entered into negotiations with Broadhead Music Group, who was really interested in what we were doing. And Randall is a part of this band called We Are Vessel, and he and I got on the phone and just started talking about mission and our vision for ministry. And it was so much more than just like we want to go out and play concerts. It was really like, what do we feel like God is calling us to do and be in this season? And so he and I were very much on the same wavelength, and it just made sense to sign with them. And now the record's coming out, and just the momentum is incredible. Something we've certainly never felt before. And now we've got just a full season of concerts and festivals and things, and
That's
talk
awesome.
of fall tours, and it's been great. It's
That's
just
great.
been totally unexpected.
Where can people watch the miniseries at, and what's the title of the miniseries?
Yeah, so the mini series is under the same title as the record. So Hope Lives Here. So if you go to YouTube, just search for Boiling Point Band, and basically you'll find a playlist that has all 8 episodes of Hope Lives Here. But that's kind of the fastest way to find it.
Right
So
there on
yeah,
YouTube.
I mean, so this whole thing has been a very large scope project, with the movie and the music kind of acting as a soundtrack for a lot of the movie. And Who
And
knew?
you can pretty much trace this back to a burrito.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
feel
burrito.
like all life's best decisions are made over burritos.
Hey, everybody. Well, let's let everybody grab a burrito. And this is the first single that they released from their new upcoming album. The title of the single is Hope Lives Here. And you're going to love this. I love this song. It's tight. So here we go. This is Hope Lives Here by Boiling Point.
Closing on our backs, rushing up these hills so fast, we ain't got no time to breathe. The tropic air is dressed in fog, these mountaintops ain't what we thought. Where do we go from here? And are we finished and turning back? Are we drunk on blind romance? Do we know who we are? Hope's not giving up on us. Embrace the journey and move on. You've got one life to live now. Join the anthem in the doubt. Working all things out. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. A precious daughter toils in heat, 12 in mining sand to eat. She ain't got no time to breathe. Her mom draws water from the well. She's the family rock, their citadel. Where can she go from here? And are we finished and turning back? Are we drunk on blind romance? Do we know who we are? Hope's not giving up on us. Embrace the journey and move on. You've got one life to live now. Join the anthem in the doubt. Hope still working all things out. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. Rise up and sing along against all odds. Hope can break through the toughest walls. Sing out 'cause you belong. You got your voice, you got your song. So join the struggle, join the fight, 'cause hope's not giving up. Hope's not giving up on us. Embrace the journey and move on. You've got one life to live now. Join the anthem in the doubt. Hope still working all things out. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. Hope lives here. Hope lives here.
Wow. That is the best way I can describe that is it rocks, but it's uplifting at the same time. It's just really, that is a song that I would put on in the car stereo and just drive down as far as I could.
Yeah, so we just got the record this week, and like I'm having a hard time not speeding because I'm just I'm enjoying some of these songs too much, I think. But yeah, all that footage is actually from the film crew that we brought over there in the movie. So
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask that. I was going to ask
Yeah.
that. It just hit me, because I really don't like to compare bands to other bands. You are who you are.
Sure.
But you got a Foo Fighters sound to you.
Oh.
It really, I hear the Foo Fighters in there. And
yeah, well, we get that a lot, actually. You'd be surprised. For that same reason, we actually did a cover of My Hero.
Oh, did you?
We heard it. We heard that so much, and I guess we'll do a cover and see how close it is, I guess. But yeah, check it out.
Yeah, is it on YouTube?
It's on Spotify. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
On Spotify. YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that out.
It's all. Yeah, I rewrote it. I rewrote it a little bit. Dave Grohl wrote it wrong.
Dear Dave, I fixed your music for you.
Right.
Yes.
Please enjoy it. Please enjoy my sincerest compliment and help. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, who else really enjoys that song is our studio mascot, Mac the Metal Dog. He totally approves of your music. I mean, that is so good. We got a bunch of comments to get here too, and I'm going to pull them up. I'm running all the controls here. Jermaine says, "Dude, definitely have Foo Fighters vibe." Yep. And then Jermaine also said that new single is amazing, and the video, bro. I was going to ask about that because I like it's not like you Hollywooded that one up. It was just real. That was really cool. And then Ian says, Boiling Point, where music and ministry meet and work together hand in hand. God's touch is all over Boiling Point. That is so obvious when you hear their music, when you hear what they're doing, and just the heart of ministry. That's one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying this interview tonight, because it is more than just about the music and a new album. And dude, this is a big week for you in Boiling Point because you have a new release coming out this week, correct?
Yeah. So Friday is the official release date of the new record. Ian's record is actually on its way over to the UK, so hopefully he gets it before it's released. But Ian, by the way, Ian, I had no idea it cost $42 to ship something to the UK.
Oh wow! We're being watched in the UK right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's commitment, man. Because it's a 7-hour time difference, I think. So
that is
like
definitely
3:30 in the morning. Ian, go to sleep.
Yeah. Well, we've got something here. How many of you would like to have a sneak peek of this song coming out on Friday called Monuments?
All right.
I've got a 1-minute clip of this, and that's all I'm going to show because I just want to whet people's appetite for this.
Okay.
And if you liked Hope Lives Here, you are absolutely going to love Monuments. And Jermaine says, yes, he wants a sneak peek. Ian's like, I apologize on behalf of my country. nothing to apologize for the postage over there. It costs a good bit of money to get stuff out there. So it's got to, I guess, fly. I mean, you got to figure the fuel costs and everything like that is
it's
what's
all
in
good.
there.
Ian's my guy.
There you go. And here we go. I know we've been holding people for this. This is their new song coming out on Friday called Monuments. Everybody buckle up your seatbelts, get your iced tea, because it's about to get even hotter with Monuments. That was the sneak peek, everybody. What did you think of that? I love it. It just starts out, it's positive, it rocks, and then you just drive right in there with the crunch. I love it, how it goes. And the words, your lyric writing, I love it because a lot of your music, it's all faith-based. It's very obvious. It's nuanced in a lot of ways. It's subtle, but it leads right to the truth. And What do you believe, or think some of the benefits are of using some more subtle and nuanced lyrics rather than, hey, in your face, this is obvious of what this is about?
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning, we've always seen ourselves as kind of a band that can do both faith-based audiences and then hopefully other audiences, right? So by adding nuance to our lyrics, it points in a direction, but and hopefully gets people to ask questions.
Yeah.
I feel like part of really good art is just asking really good questions and getting people to ask really good questions,
Yeah.
and then hopefully that leads people, where.
It's thinking for
Yeah,
yourself. And that's something that God never wanted us to shut off, is our thinking. He never
yeah,
wanted us to ever put our brains on a shelf and be like, okay, well,
yeah.
I am a spiritual robot now. And, I love it because when Jesus spoke the parables, those were all nuanced. None of that was
Mm,
in your face. And really, if you were really seeking him, you would seek deeper the meaning of the
right.
parables. And those that were the closest to him in that relationship, they got the meaning. Hey, and we got a great comment here, and I'm very excited about this comment from Todd Ponert. Enjoyable. Todd was my roommate my sophomore
All
year in
right.
college at the Citadel. Todd, thank you for joining the live stream tonight. I hope everything is going well for you, and I'm glad that you enjoyed that song from Boiling Point. It rocks, and it's got the crunch, which I
Dude,
really
I'm
like.
that's going to be our new closer, and so I'm really excited about that because it's got some surprises in there. Actually, our drummer has been on this accordion kick of all things. He's been
Really?
learning how to play the accordion, and so we actually threw some accordion in on the bridge there, and
Okay.
we're gonna get the drummer out front with me playing the
Okay.
accordion on the backside of that song before he has to run back to the drums and finish the song.
I like the accordion. Did he watch Lawrence Welk? Was he into that with the bubbles and all that stuff back in the
I don't know,
60s?
man. He's from Wisconsin. People from
Okay.
Wisconsin have crazy ideas at times, so we're just letting him run with that musical instrument passion and trying to work it into a rock
It's
show.
Let the creativity flow. I mean, AC/DC threw bagpipes in their music, and
Yeah,
that
there
was
you go.
ingenious.
Yeah, man.
And one of the bands that I've really been enjoying over the past several years is a band from Switzerland, Elvite. And they've got a hurdy-gurdy, they've got a violin, they've got the bagpipes, they've got the lute, they've got everything. And dude, they can rock it like nobody's business. I'm like, I like this. It's different. It's really, really different.
I guess I'll have to learn the lute. So
Yeah, the lute.
add a
Yeah,
little
rock the
add a little
lute.
bit add a little of that to the boiling point show.
Well, from what I understand in my study of church history, Martin Luther could rock the lute too.
Yeah.
He was pretty good on the lute. Yeah, he
Well,
wrote a lot of music.
speaking of a guy who's spoken parables or the common tongue of the day, Martin Luther basically used bar tunes and added theological lyrics to them to get people to kind of help people sing. So
Yes,
there's a lot of great history there,
yes.
and I think very usable history as well, as far as helping people navigate coming into church music or the church or relationship with Christ.
Absolutely. And I love to use that argument when people are like, well, your rock music and all your heavy metal you promote is of the devil and it's not sacred. It's like, well, neither was Martin Luther's music. It came out of a bar. So,
Right. Yeah.
that's really where it came from. Hey,
Yep.
got a couple more questions for you. First of all, where can people get Monuments when it drops on Friday?
So the record, you can either find it on any of the downloadable platforms like iTunes, Amazon Music, etc. It'll be on Spotify as well. We'll have physical copies as well. And I'm hoping that a lot of people do get the physical copy because it kills in your car, by the way. Get the copy and just listen to it in your car. But uh, we were actually able to kind of do some really neat packaging. I actually hired a friend of mine to do some art here.
Oh, nice.
And this is kind of, bleeding into the world, kind of being God's hands and, Jesus' hands and
That's
feet
really
in the
cool.
world. Yeah. So it's the stained glass bleeding into the real life mission. And anyway, there's just all sorts of cool stuff happening in the packaging. But
I am
Yeah.
still, I guess maybe it's because of my age. I am a physical copy guy. I am, I'll download music because I
Yeah.
have to for what we do here, but I love to have a CD and I love vinyl. I've got tons of it here in the
Nice.
studio surrounding me, and you guys would sound awesome on vinyl. And
That would be
also,
amazing.
too, yeah, it would be. It would be.
Give me
I'd
your
love to
address,
see
by the
it.
way. I'll send you some music.
Absolutely. I'll shoot that over to you. I'll give that to you when we go. I don't want to give it to the entire world because
No,
everybody,
no, probably a smart call.
my lawn would be TP'd by the time by the time we were done. I want to go back to something that you brought up a few minutes ago. Is you just joined the Broadhead Music Group, and
Yeah.
that's a major step for you guys. What was it that led you to do that?
We met Randall a couple of summers ago in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, of all places, and I believe it was also kind of Jenna Parr's first run of tours and concerts and things. So we got to see her very early on in her career, and we stayed in touch through Facebook and whatnot. And I knew that he was launching a label group, and we just got to talking one day, and our vision was so similar and aligned. That he's like, I'm looking for artists that have more experience and we don't have to work with as much. And Boiling Point certainly fits that bill. And so would you think about coming on board and being part of the label group and, and doing more significant touring and, prayed about it for a while and came to the conclusion that we were ready for that step and we wanted that step because really, I wanted to be 100% in and in all the way if we were going to make that step. And so got the commitment from the guys and now we've signed and are on the road to, just having hopefully greater impact with our music and our ministry.
And I understand that you have a possible tour coming up this fall with Miss Jenna Parr.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're starting to book out a fall tour with us and Jenna Parr, and I think it's going to be a great time. And I'm sure at the same time, Jen and I will be writing some music, and hopefully we can get her in a future Boiling Point song as kind of a feature and kind of just a shared opportunity to minister.
Oh, that would be so cool. We had the blessing of having Jenna come to Charleston for Get Revelation Rock Fest in May, and she was one of the acts. And
yeah,
wow, what a heart for the Lord. And her music was just absolutely amazing on stage. She sounds good recorded, but then when you put her up on a stage, it's like, oh man, that is even better than what I heard on the CD or what I heard on Spotify. Got a couple more comments here. Ian, he is still awake over in the UK, and he says, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why CDs are the best. Yes, I love CDs. Yep, you get to hold it. Yep, get to hold it, and you get the artwork with it. To me, it's a full experience of the artwork with the album. Yep. It's opening up the CD, reading the liner notes, and then vinyl. There, even with vinyl, I love the smell of it.
If you look closely enough, you can see Ian Moss's name on the
nice
on
Ian.
the thanks. He made it.
Look at that. And then Jermaine says that is going to be epic. You working with Jenna.
Yeah,
that is going to be so neat. I think you're really gonna enjoy that. Again, can you tell us when is the album itself? It's an EP, I understand. When is that coming out?
Yeah, so it's 8 songs, so it's either a long EP or a short album. But yeah, the album is actually called Hope Lives Here. It will that is what is dropping on Friday. So that whole record will be out this Friday, and it's the end of a 5 or 6 year process. And I might pass out after that, but I will be so thankful because it's just been such a labor of love and persistence and patience and just trying to listen.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize this, in that doing any art, any true art, and really serving the Lord, combining the two together, that's not a lucrative combination at all.
No. Yeah, it's like anytime I talk to someone who's really interested in music, I'm like, well, just make sure you have kind of the right motivations, because money may not be a real thing for that.
Yeah.
Just be sure that you love people, love the Lord, and just love the opportunity to sing and be part of people's lives, and hopefully that will be reward enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I want to remind our viewers, if you're watching us on YouTube live this evening, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down at the bottom and ring the little bell so that you can get notifications from us. That is the biggest way that you can support us over here at Lithoscry to bring you great music like this, to bring you rock, to bring you heavy music. And as you saw last week with our discussion with Dr. Heiser, we also bring you heavy theology. And man, we had a great theological discussion tonight with Eric from Boiling Point. And I also want to remind our viewers this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on 88.1 FM in Utica, New York, I am going to be co-hosting Metal Sharpens Metal with my good friend Rick in Rome, New York. So tune in for that. It's on wvvcutica.com. You can live stream us and listen to that. It should be a lot of fun. You get two Yankee guys sharing the gospel and playing good, heavy music. So we got that. We also got another comment from Jermaine says, I can relate to the 5 to 6 year process. That's how I felt after getting REP out. I am beyond excited to listen to you guys. Congrats on all you guys have accomplished. Thank you, Jermaine.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Eric, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. I want you to stand by. I'm going to go ahead and close things out with all of our viewers. Just a reminder for everybody, we're going to be off of live stream next week. I've got to take a little bit of a break, but I'll be back on July 8th with a double shot Thursday. We're going to start off with my good friend Nettie, who not only can sing, but can dance like there's no tomorrow. And we're going to talk about her new anti-bullying campaign, which I'm really excited about. And then that's going to be at the 7 o'clock hour on Thursday, the 8th of July. And then at the 8 o'clock hour, I am bringing back my friends Braden and El Victoria from Warriors of Light. And we are going to dive into some of the deeper concepts of spiritual warfare. So it's going to be a heavy, heavy time. Eric, thank you so much. Many blessings on your band.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. May the Lord continue to bless you guys with what you're doing and you're giving to everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, we got one last comment here. Can Eric, can you dance?
No one wants to see that.
I can see though from the picture we used that you can climb on top of a piano. Though
I can. I'm really talented at jumping off of stuff, but dancing.
Okay.
No one wants to see that.
Everybody, until July 8th. Peace out and rock on.
Lithoscry.com